Take one retired elite special forces operative, kidnap his daughter to blackmail him into political assassination, and give him a few hours to comply. Big mistake, because John Matrix doesn't negotiate, and he's bringing an entire military surplus store's worth of firepower to the party. In this 80s flick, the action is over the top, the one-liners are unforgettable, and letting off some steam has never looked so cool. So check your ammo, put on the tactical vest, and remember to not to approach downwind as Nicholas Pepin and I discuss Commando from 1985 on this episode of the 80s Flick Flashback Podcast. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am your host, Tim Williams. On this episode, we're locked and loaded for 1985's Commando. I brought a true movie mercenary back to talk about one of Arnold's cult classics. Please welcome back to the show from Pop Culture Roulette. It's Mr. Nicholas Pepin. How you doing, Nicholas?
I'm just here to let off some steam.
Yes, I think that's probably the most famous line or one-liner that Schwarzenegger gives us. So, but yeah, this is a fun one.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, this is when you think quality, you maybe don't think Commando, but when you think fun, this movie is there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Quintessential 80s action flick, like pure popcorn flick action movie. Don't think too hard, just enjoy the ride.
No, if you think too hard, you will hurt yourself, and the plot holes you could drive Arnold Schwarzenegger-sized trucks through is
right.
But it's so much fun.
All right, well, let's jump right in. When did you see Commando for the very first time?
You know, it was more recently than you would think. I'm trying to remember. I think it was when I was down in Atlanta on doing the game show.
Really?
Yeah, like I remember it was around that time because I had watched it. I don't remember why. I think I want to say I watched it because you guys were talking about it, or because this is the first time you're doing this episode, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly why I was like, you know what, I'm finally gonna break the seal and watch Commando, but it was only in the last like 5 years. Like
that's going to give a very interesting perspective. So go ahead, give me initial thoughts. Like, was it everything that it was hyped up to be? Was it?
I mean, listen, I feel like as your listeners, and I've been on enough episodes now where I think the people who remember me know, like, I love 80s cheese. I love I love 90s cheese. I just love cheese.
Cheese. You do live in Wisconsin, so you know.
I do. I mean, For every time you want to watch Shawshank Redemption, I'm going to watch Commando like 3 or 4 times. Like Shawshank Redemption, one of the greatest movies of all time, but I could watch Commando
over and over,
or a movie like Commando over and over again, because it's you can turn your brain off and just have fun, and then you can do things like count how many times Arnold says one-liners. Or you have a lot of questions you want to ask yourself as you're watching the movie, and we'll get there as we go along.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, this is one that I did see as a kid. I don't think I saw this one in the theater. I'm pretty sure this was a rental. Definitely a movie that me and my dad watched together. And one, like, after I saw it, we watched, like, me and my friends watched a million times. That opening scene with the trash men, like, as soon as that started, like, it just flooded my memory of like watching that scene over and over as a kid, because, you know, back then, like that's how you started a movie. Like, you just unassuming, and then just, you know, gratuitous violence right off the bat. And you knew exactly what type of movie you were going to watch.
I'm honestly surprised I didn't see it, because one of the first rated R movies my dad ever showed me was Running Man. Like
Mm-hmm.
we liked watching cheesy Arnold movies, and it's not like this
Right.
one had anything offensive other than just like 3,700 guys getting shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm kind of shocked I didn't watch it. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, I'm glad I watched it now.
Yeah. So have you watched it again since you watched it back then before watching it for the podcast?
I think I've watched it at least one other time since
Okay.
then. But yeah, I had to rent it Saturday night.
Okay.
For some reason, it's not on a streamer anywhere.
Yeah, like, so I was thinking about when I watched it. It's been a while since I watched the theatrical version. I want to say I want to think within the last year, at least within the last 2 years, I think Prime had the director's cut. And so I was like, oh, I didn't know there was a director's cut. And so I watched that, which doesn't really add a whole lot. I think they had to trim some of the violence down for the theatrical. So it's got a few extended scenes. I think it maybe only be like 3 minutes longer than the theatrical cut. So no like huge deleted scenes that were there. But so I remember watching it then. So, but before then, it'd probably been a while since I'd watched it. And I think it's pretty well known. Like I don't not like Commando, but I love Predator and I love Running Man even more. So I tend to, like, if I'm picking an Arnold movie to watch, those are the two I'm typically going to first. But Commando is fun. And even like people give me grief all the time because I'm like, Terminator is good, but I don't feel like that's a Schwarzenegger movie because it's what made him a star, but he's not the star of it. He's the star of Terminator 2
Yes.
and the ones that followed, but it's, it's very much a Michael Biehn movie and a Linda Hamilton movie. Like they're the main characters. So yeah, Commando is one that I think I have watched a lot. I watched it a ton as a kid, but as I've gotten older, it tends to go further down on my list of like, oh, I want to watch an Arnold movie. It's not the first one I usually reach for. So
I'm trying to remember how far it made it in the Arnold bracket when we did that a couple years ago.
Oh yeah,
over on Pop Culture Roulette. I feel like it won maybe the first round or two.
mm-hmm.
It didn't go as far as, I mean, like you said, Predator and Running Man. I've watched a whole lot more than I've.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Arnold's got great movies. I mean, and once again, it's not bad. It's just not as good as other ones. And also, it was one of his first movies. I mean, of course, Conan and then Terminator. I think this one and Conan the Destroyer were about the same time in 85 or around the same time. So he was definitely coming off of the juggernaut that was Terminator. But yeah. All right. Well, it's that time where we play our little game. It's time to put our 80s flick behind the scenes knowledge to the ultimate test. It's time to play Risky Quizness.
Risky Quizness. Risky Quizness.
So I've got 5 statements about the story, origin, and pre-production of Commando, and you have to let me know if you think they are true or false. Listeners, feel free to play along and see if Nicholas comes out on top, because this time he's all by himself, no teammates to conspire with or meet and discuss. So, are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right. Number 1, true or false? The film screenwriter Jeff Loeb originally conceived the script as a gritty, realistic drama about a delusioned mercenary before the studio aggressively rewrote it into a high-octane action vehicle for Arnold Schwarzenegger. True or false?
Know that Jeff Loeb was one of the original screenwriters before he went over to comic books. Yeah, true.
That is true. He originally wrote the script with the intention of having Gene Simmons play Matrix, but Simmons passed on it early in development stage. Loeb then rewrote the script with Nick Nolte in mind as an out-of-condition former commando. The storyline concerned a special forces agent working in the Middle East who becomes sick of the continuous death and destruction. He leaves Israel, returns to the U.S., and retires, but he is then forced out of retirement after the kidnapping of his daughter. So that was the original script idea for Commando.
I mean, the Nick Nolte one at that time maybe could have worked. I mean, it would have been a very different movie.
Mm-hmm.
but it could have worked. Gene Simmons, I think we should all be glad that never happened.
Right. All right. Number 2, true or false? Vern Lynch, the actor who played the sleazy motel manager in the film, was actually a real-life stunt coordinator who refused to use a stunt double during the scene where he gets thrown out of a second-story window. True or false?
For those guys back then, yeah, sure, true.
That is false. Though the motel manager was played by David Patrick Kelly, famous for playing Luther in The Warriors. Wait a minute, that's not the motel manager. Hold on, that is wrong. So I'm going to give you that one because it's telling me that it's false, but that's not who played the motel manager. So, and he doesn't get thrown out of a second-story window. Okay. Sorry, folks. We'll let that one slide. So, my bad. So, all right. Number 3. True or false? The final warehouse battle features a massive continuity error where Arnold Schwarzenegger's ammunition belt changes configuration between shots due to the sheer volume of weapons he carries.
I mean, continuity errors are like just the makeup of this movie in general. So that seems probably true.
That is true. Matrix carries an impossible, seemingly bottomless supply of weapons and ammo, famously loading up on a rack of guns that shifts slightly between cuts. So, all right, true or false? Commando marked the feature film acting debut of Alyssa Milano, who played Arnold's kidnapped daughter, Jenny.
She had just finished season 1 of Who's the Boss. So yes, this was her feature film debut.
I'm sorry, that is false. While it was her breakout film role on the big screen, she had already made her feature film debut a year earlier in the drama Old English and had starred extensively on Broadway and television.
Sure, okay. So this is the first movie that anyone's actually heard of that she was in.
Right,
Got it. Okay,
right. So, a little tricky there for you. So, all right. So we gave you 2. So you got 3 true. I mean, you got 3 right, 1 wrong so far. Bringing it on home for number 5. Director Mark L. Lester encouraged Arnold Schwarzenegger to perform almost all of his own hand-to-hand combat stunts in the climactic tool shed fight scene. That's not a tool shed. In the climactic fight scene against Vernon Wells. Where I pulled this from really got me this time. I'm kind of embarrassed. But anyway, so basically the question is, did director Mark Lester encourage Arnold to perform his own hand-to-hand combat stunts against Vernon Wells?
That is tricky based on the wording, because I know that Arnold wanted to perform most of his own stunts. So I'm going to say, I don't know if the director encouraged. See, this is where you're going to get me on a technicality, because I'm going to say yes, true.
It is true. He did encourage them, but even though both Schwarzenegger and Vernon insisted on doing the vast majority of their brutal final knife and pipe brawl themselves, leading to a few accidental bumps and bruises on set. So it was worded kind of tricky, but you got it right anyway. So good job. You got 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. All right.
He'll take those odds. All right, well, let us know how you did if you played along at home. Send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or send us an email or leave us a comment right here in the comment section on YouTube. So, all right, let's jump into casting. We're not going to talk much about Arnold Schwarzenegger because we've covered him in previous episodes, which I think you might have been in just about all of them. Predator, Conan the Barbarian, and The Running Man.
I was in at least one of them.
Yeah. But this was a little fun fact, though. Originally, the studio executives didn't want Arnold Schwarzenegger to talk at all in the movie. Like, it's hard to be the lead and not talk. I mean, it worked for Terminator because he was a machine, a cyborg, but yeah.
And it worked for Nick Cage in Willy's Wonderland. That movie is amazing. But you'll never cover it because it came out in the 2020s.
Yeah, that just came out 5 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, within the last 10 years.
Gotcha. But I think this was like a perfect vehicle for Schwarzenegger, especially at this time. Like, of course, there's always that discussion, like what movies would Stallone have been better in, but this was Schwarzenegger all day.
Yeah. I mean, it is the quintessential question of every Schwarzenegger movie, or almost every Schwarzenegger movie. Not all of them, but just like this one, Jingle All the Way, True Lies. Like, how does a guy who has that accent get taken for American Special Forces, or just like an unassuming, like this guy is a massive human being. Like he is gigantic and ripped.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we're just supposed to buy that people in his town were like, oh, that's just a normal guy.
Right. Just carrying a full tree trunk on his shoulder coming out of the woods. Yeah, that's normal. So yeah. And it's funny too, because he does. I like that at least they worked it into the dialogue, like the first 5 minutes. When I grew up in West Germany, like he, trying to say, we all know I'm not American. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Right.
But he is such a huge presence. Like there's no one. I mean, in the mall scene, there's a little bit, that where they recognize how big he is, so they can believe Radon Chong's, accusations against him. But on the plane, nobody thinks about it. Why did nobody wonder why he'd been in the bathroom the whole time in the plane?
There was one of the questions I had about that was like, and it was one of my favorite scenes. I guess maybe it was one of the iconic scenes, is that he breaks the dude's neck and goes, "He's dead, tired," and then like gets up and leaves.
Right.
And nobody goes, "Hey, wait a minute, that guy didn't come back from the bathroom."
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a 5-hour flight, and the stewardess never, like, did they knock on the door to check on him and see that like he had broke something? Like, it's just, anyway, let's not think too hard about it.
Yeah. And also, how long into the flight did they go, this guy might be dead?
Right. And then I love the scene where, like, after he knocks him out, you see him, like, putting the pillow behind him and the blanket. But if you look at the two people sitting in front, like, they're trying to look like they're half asleep. And I'm like, when he knocked that dude out, it shook the whole seat. Like, they had to have known something happened behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, before we go down more plot hole rabbit holes, let's go back to the casting. So I mentioned already Rae Dawn Chong as Cindy. She made her big screen debut appearing in the 1978 musical drama film Stony Island and the 1981 science fantasy film Quest for Fire. She later starred in films such as Beat Street in 84, American Flyers in 85, The Color Purple in 85, Soul Man in 86. Let's talk about that movie one day. The Principal, 87, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie in 1990, and through the 90s, she had other movies as well. But she's the daughter of comedian and actor Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong, if you did not.
I was going to say, there's one thing about her that you're not mentioning.
I got to save it for the end. Can't give it away too early. So I thought she was good in this. I mean, this was probably the first movie that I had seen Beat Street before this, but this was probably the movie that I most remember her from. So,
yeah, I mean, it's such a weird character. I mean, she's fine. I mean, there's no problems with her. I mean, she did the most with what she was given.
Exactly.
But like, there's so many questions about like, she just accepted the story that was given and just decided to go along with it. And then,
yeah, she does take like a hard, like, she's totally against, like, he's kidnapping me. You've got to, like, get rid of him or whatever. And then all of a sudden she's like his greatest ally and confidant. And I'm like, I feel like there's some scenes that got cut here, which I did read that supposedly there was a love scene between the two of them that was supposed to be in the movie, but they didn't think it was convincing enough, so they took it out. And I'm like, has any love scene with Arnold Schwarzenegger been convincing in any movie? Not that he's done a whole lot, but like,
yeah, I think honestly the movie is better for it. Like,
for sure.
Because I mean, the relationship was already pretty weird to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of a sudden having a random love scene in the middle of like, I only have 11 hours.
Right. We can take a few minutes. It'll be all right. So, yeah. All right, moving right along. Alyssa Milano, as we mentioned earlier, was Jenny Matrix, his daughter, most well known for her roles as Samantha Maselli on Who's the Boss from 84 to 92. She was Jennifer Mancini in Melrose Place from 97-98. Phoebe Halliwell in Charmed from 98 to 2006, and Billy Cunningham in My Name is Earl from 2007 to 2008. So mainly on TV. She did do a couple of movies here and there. I think she was in Street Fighter and not a huge movie star. She's mainly known more for her TV work. But I will say I did have a major crush on Alyssa Milano as a kid. So
I think most of us that are around the age that you and I are absolutely did.
Yep. So didn't hurt as a kid that she was in this movie and enjoyed all the scenes that she was in. So yeah, it's just funny to see her like that young. Cause like even most of my memories of like, Who's the Boss? She's like a full, like more of a teenager, like, 15, 16, 17 here. She's got to be like 12 or 13. So still very much like a kid, but the most, I'm trying to stay on task, but we got to talk about it because we're there. The whole opening credit scene, like I just wanted to put like the Full House theme song behind it, or it looked like the drug ads we have today. Like all of the side effects would be announced while he's throwing around in the pool, or like he's showing her the fighting moves, or they're having ice cream. Like he's the best dad in the world. Like if you had Arnold Schwarzenegger as a dad, like, is that really, how you would act all the time? And it was just, it's there to show that they're close and he loves his daughter. But even as a kid, I was like, this just seems weird. I don't see Schwarzenegger as like the doting dad. It just,
Well, and like you pointed out, like one of the scenes that I have written down was just him coming out of the woods with an entire tree on his shoulder and a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, what the? Yeah, you're right. It does seem like it's like that 80s sitcom opening where they got the theme song of, Give Me a Break, or, and like, he's
Family Matters. Yeah.
He turns around, he's got the tree on his shoulder, and he does like the
thumbs up. Yeah.
Thumbs up, or it's got that soft wipe,
Yeah. And this memory, every time I see that opening, this pops in my mind. One of my friends, I don't remember who said it, but we were watching it one time and we were all like, oh man, look how strong he's carrying that log. And he's like, no, you can see the end where they cut a hole in it and it's hollow. So he's not even carrying the tree's not full. I'm like, so now every time I watched, I'm still trying to see the hole that the guy was talking about, which I don't see anymore, but I don't doubt that it was probably a prop. I'm sure Schwarzenegger wasn't carrying a real full-sized tree log.
Although at this time, that was when every movie had his full weight bar set. So like he was, he was making you, do full racks of weights. So
True.
he was squatting like 450 or some ridiculous amount. So I could see them being like, I'm going to carry a real tree regardless. Like, they're like, no, we got this foam one. He's like, nope, I'm picking up this real one.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. I couldn't find any, trivia about it or any behind the scenes, but maybe one day I'll find out if it was true or not. So not that this kid that lived in the suburbs of Atlanta knew that was true or not, just, some older kid trying to prove he was smart. So moving right along. Then we got our big bad Dan Hedaya as General Arias, prolific actor for TV shows such as Cheers, Family Ties, and Miami Vice. He was also prolific in movies like Buckaroo Banzai, Running Scared, Clueless, Daylight, and A Night at the Roxbury. Huge filmography for Dan Hedaya. It was hard for me to see him as like the villain, though, like the serious role, because I remembered him more from comedies, even back then. So,
yeah,
I still think of him as a comedic actor for sure.
Yeah, you don't tend to see him in serious movies very often. So, yeah, I'm so used to him being in comedies that seeing him in a, I guess for lack of a better word, a drama. Like, as a serious villain, not the ham-fisted villain that,
right.
Because he can be the bad guy kind of character, but, I'm thinking like Clueless, where there's no real bad guy in the movie, but like he's kind of like the overbearing jerk father, but, like it's played to comedic effect. That's what I'm used to seeing him
Mm-hmm.
more, not this over the top, very oddly voiced villain.
So initially, the director wanted Raul Julia for the role of Arias, but producer Joel Silver insisted on casting Dan Hedaya. Writer Stephen E. D'Souza later wrote and directed Street Fighter in '94, which featured Julia as the main villain. So totally different styles, but Raul Julia is really known more for like serious work. So he might have been a little bit more believable.
I don't think that's the part of the movie that anybody really focuses on. So you could have put just about anybody in that role.
And honestly, he's kind of the secondary villain because the next person we're going to talk about was the real villain. And of course, that's Vernon Wells as Captain Bennett. And of course, he's well known for playing Wes in the 1981 movie Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. After Mad Max 2, he began appearing in Hollywood films such as Weird Science, which we've covered from '85, and Inner Space from 1987. So,
and what was that shirt that he was wearing in this movie? Like what? Like the mustache is one choice, but the outfit made no sense to me.
Yeah, it's pretty, and it's almost Mad Max-ish. It's not fully Mad Max, but fun fact, he was not the original actor cast to play Bennett. He auditioned for the role, but lost to Wings Hauser. On the first day of filming, however, director Mark L. Lester fired Hauser and hired Wells. This is the reason that Bennett's clothes seemed too tight, because Wells was bigger than Hauser, and the production didn't have time to make a new costume. But Vernon Wells did describe his look as, quote-unquote, Freddie Mercury on steroids, which I think is pretty accurate. Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the whole chain, it's just weird. It's
at first I thought it was chainmail, but then I'm like, no, that's just like a knit, like sweater vest kind of. Yeah. It was, it's a choice.
It's a choice. Yeah. I mean, we've got to have Bill Duke as one of the, henchmen in a full 3-piece suit. And then you've got Bennett over here looking like he just came back from a rave in somebody's basement. So it's crazy. All right. David Patrick Kelly as Sully, one of my favorite characters, best known as the main antagonist Luther in the cult film The Warriors in '79. He's also known for collaborations with Spike Lee in films like Malcolm X, Crooklyn, and Chirac. He's also been with David Lynch in Wild at Heart, as well as Twin Peaks. His other credits include roles in 48 Hours in '82, The Crow in '94, Last Man Standing in '96, The Longest Yard remake in 2005, and a recurring role in The Blacklist. But yeah.
He's kind of one of those guys.
Well, for sure. Sure.
You're like, oh, I've seen him somewhere. And, and then you look at the list and you're like, oh, I've seen him everywhere.
Yeah. And I've rewatched. We haven't covered 48 Hours yet on the show, but I watched 48 Hours a couple of years ago. Two things. The soundtrack is identical. They use the same music in both movies. Not sure why. I think there's a reason, but I don't remember. But he's in both movies, and he's basically playing the same character in both movies. So it's almost like, and I don't think he dies in that one. So I'm like, this was like, they're in the same universe, maybe. So I don't know. It'll be when I go back and cover 48 Hours, maybe I'll watch the two movies back to back and see if I can find any real connections. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
The director wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to dangle David Patrick Kelly. I can talk. Director Mark L. Lester really wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to dangle David Patrick Kelly over the edge without any help. Arnold looked at him and said, "Are you crazy?" So they used a crane to hang Sully off the cliff. I'm like, surely that's not him really holding him over a cliff. But
yeah, I mean, I think for once Arnold was the smart one here, not the director.
Yeah, right.
Like, could Arnold have done it? Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Would it have been safe and smart?
No, not at all. Not at all. So, but that was one of my favorite scenes as a kid. We all looked forward to that scene of Arnold holding him over the cliff. So, remember I told you I'd kill you last? Yeah, and made sure she did. I lied. So, great lines. All right, I mentioned before Bill Duke as Cook. He began his career as a theater actor. He was in this movie and Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He also appeared in other films like Bird on a Wire in 1990, Menace to Society in 93, X-Men The Last Stand in 2006, and Mandy with Nick Cage in 2018. So prolific actor, also a director. He directed Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. So he's done a little directing here and there, but I liked him better in Predator, but just that menacing character.
He does good at what he does.
Mm-hmm. My favorite scene with him is when he steals the car at the car dealership.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I'm going to skip over him. So this is a name that I recognized. You may not remember her at all, or maybe you will. Chelsea Field as the brunette stewardess. Blink and you miss it. She started as a solid gold dancer, and one of the first television roles she had was on Airwolf, but she's most known for playing Tila in the 1987 adaptation of Masters of the Universe.
Okay. I saw her name pop up a lot when they're like, this was her first movie, and I'm like, who is she? Oh,
Right.
okay. Yep. All right. I've definitely seen her, but like, she doesn't really she's not somebody who immediately pops to mind when I think of 80s stars.
She also played Bruce Willis's wife in The Last Boy Scout, which is what I probably remember her the most from. I've seen that movie more than I've seen Masters of the Universe. But the other blink and you miss it early role for Bill Paxton.
Oh, yeah.
He's the intercept officer. Of course, we talked about Bill Paxton as well. Well-known actor, gone too soon. And then the last one I'll mention is Branscombe Richmond as Vega, a very small role here, but most people know him as Body Six Killer on the American syndicated drama series Renegade from 92 to 97. And he also had starring roles on the TV series Hawaiian Heat in 84 and Heart of the City from 86 to 87. Just one of the henchmen, basically, that's there for 5 minutes. So
I mean, I remember him from so many other things, but I don't remember him from this movie.
Yeah, he looks different. He's younger in this for sure than he was. I mean, I remembered him from Renegade, but he's definitely younger. And it's, once again, he's barely in the movie. So, but yeah, that's who I have for cast. Anybody else that I didn't mention?
No, there's a lot of blink and you miss some people, but there's nothing really that other than Bill Paxton who you're like, wait, was that?
Yeah.
Like, hold on now. Was that really? I mean, it's one of those, like, he was definitely a nobody when he did that. And like, they were like, hey, look, now we have Bill Paxton in this movie.
Right. And honestly, like, because you hear his voice before you see his face. So I recognized the voice immediately. But then when they showed his face, and it's really dark, it's not a really good, it's hard to kind of see him like really clearly, at least on the version that I was looking at. But yeah, I mean, he's Blink, he's the beginning of Terminator. So I don't know if Schwarzenegger was like, hey, I know this guy. He was had a small part in Terminator. We can throw him in this too. So, but yeah, he's known as the only guy that's been killed by an alien, a Terminator, and Predator.
Okay.
Because he's in Aliens, he was in first Terminator, and he was in Predator 2. So
that's right. Yeah. Okay. I said, there's so many of those movies now. There's got to be other people, but if that's what the research says, then,
Yeah, that's what the internet told me, so I got to believe them. All right, well, let's talk about iconic and favorite scenes. So if someone says to you, Commando, what's the first scene that pops in your head?
Well, we've already discussed the carrying of the tree and the breaking of the guy's neck. So what else? Okay. So they disable his car so that he can't drive after them. So he just literally pushes it down the cliff, jumps in it, and uses it as a weapon anyway.
Yes.
And then, of course, we get the prerequisite 80s thing of when it gets to the bottom of the cliff, he jumps out, it goes further, and then it blows up
behind him. Right.
No reason whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, but I just love, he's like, you disabled my car, I'll still use it as a weapon.
Mm-hmm. And obviously if the engine's going to start, the brakes don't work either because he couldn't slow down for anything. So that was, yeah. For me, there's a couple of iconic scenes for me. One is the scene of Rae-Dawn Chong with the rocket launcher when she shoots it backwards and then turns around. And then and even in that, it's like, were you trying to blow up the vehicle that he was in? Wouldn't that kill him if you did that? Like, why would you use it? But I mean, thankfully she's a terrible shot and it goes under the truck and knocks the truck over. And of course, Schwarzenegger comes out without a scratch, you know.
That does give us one of the great lines of, how did you know how to use it? I read the instruction manual.
Right. The other iconic scene, we have kind of talked about him coming out of the woods with the log. And then, of course, once he gets on the beach and he, it's like that classic 80s montage of him putting all his weapons on, his knife in one thing, putting on the grenades on his, I don't know, what do you call it?
Bandolier, I'm guessing.
But yeah, that's what you call it. Yeah. And then he's putting the black paint on his face to camouflage.
Yeah.
So,
I clocked that one as like, I've got very limited time before they figure out something. But you know what I'm going to do? Take the time to get completely ready and put eye black and paint, face paint. Like, what?
Right.
I'm going to take this extra 10 minutes to do all this work.
Right.
I got to be ready.
Because you've got to be camouflaged when you're attacking a house that has a clear backyard with very little tree coverage. But, it looked cool for the poster, though.
Yes.
All right, what about favorite scenes?
I did really like the one scene at the mall when Ray Don Chong is like, this big guy, he's out to get me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cops start coming at him. But he goes over and he picks up the phone booth.
Mm-hmm.
And but then I got to thinking, like, just wave after wave after wave. It was like, how many cops
are there at this mall?
At this mall, like, I mean, you got to figure most malls had one or two, but this mall had like 40.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Didn't I read somewhere that this was the same mall from Fast Time?
No, it is. Let's see.
It was another movie.
It was in Terminator 2 and Inner Space.
I knew there was another movie that you and I had done together, Inner Space.
Mm-hmm. Inner Space, yep.
Yeah. Apparently, they didn't have cops at the Inner Space time, so they were like, "Oh, we got to load up so people don't get injected with things." But yeah, no, there were so many cops.
Yeah, and he beats them all. Like, I love the scene where they're all like on top of him, and then he just does his two arms go up and everybody goes flying off of him.
Yeah.
So just 80s cheese action. So it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Him swinging from the second floor with the plastic whatever decorations, that this will hold me.
Yeah.
I'm a light guy. So yeah. I think I've kind of talked about my favorite scenes already. I always like the Sully scene. I like the opening scene with the garbage truck, the car dealership. Excuse me. I'm trying to think if there's another scene that stands out, but those are like the main ones. I mean, the fight scene at the end with him and Vernon Wells is pretty good. Not the greatest fight scene, and let's talk about Vernon Wells for a second. Dude was not holding anything back. Like, you want somebody to be crazy, I'm gonna be as crazy as you want. I mean, he's just such the over the top villain.
Yes.
That it almost makes it like a comedy by the end.
Yeah, because yeah, no, you're right. I mean, he was like, I'm gonna ham it up and I'm gonna try to out. I mean, this is really before Arnold is Arnold, but like, it's like this is the movie they used as a blueprint for all Arnold movies going forward with the one-liners.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the the over the top, not violence, but over the top, like, just like, because I did take note of it. At some point, he does look at Ray Don Chong and say, "I'll be back."
He does.
Right?
He also says it to Bennett when they drop him off at the airport.
Okay, or that's when he says it, but he definitely he definitely says it. So I was like, wait, how many? So I went through and I researched it. It's at least 21 Arnold movies. He says, "I'll be back," or some variation of like, "I'll be right back," or "I'll be back," or Yeah, so 21 Arnold movies. He says, "I'll be back."
Hey, that was the line that made him a star. So of course they're gonna refer back to it because they got to use it in the trailer, right?
Right.
So, Yeah. All right, well, let's jump into some trivia, some other behind-the-scenes stuff, maybe jog our memory. I don't know if I knew this. I haven't shared this with Laramie yet, but the film was somewhat inspired by DC Comics character Sergeant Rock, which star Arnold Schwarzenegger and producer Joel Silver had long attempted to make into a movie. Screenwriter Jeff Loeb had written for comics and gave Sergeant Rock's first name Franklin to General Kirby and the middle name John to Matrix. So,
I mean, I had read that too. I mean, Sergeant Rock is one of those like kind of forgotten characters at this point in comic history. Like, I think he used to be bigger, but I don't know if he was never like Superman, Spider-Man, Batman.
oh,
level.
of course, yeah.
But like, I think at one point when, you know, he was, because I think he's definitely in the non-superhero side of comics. Like, but yeah, no, I am aware that they have tried to do Sergeant Rock stuff in the past. It's just never made it for whatever reason.
Other piece of trivia, Arias is said to be a deposed dictator from the country of Valverde. Valverde is a fictionalized Latin America country used by Hollywood in the 80s and early 90s to depict a Spanish-speaking country similar to Cuba or Nicaragua without encountering diplomatic problems. It is also referenced in films Predator, Die Hard 2, and the made-for-TV movie Deadly Enemies from 1988. So, just in case you're trying to find Valverde on the map, you will not find it there.
No, I wasn't, but I didn't realize they had used it in that many other places.
Right. We talked about how the Sherman Oaks Galleria Mall was used in other films, but the mansion for the final shootout, do you know what other movie that was featured in?
No, but I do remember reading it was owned by somebody named not Buster Keaton.
No, Harold Lloyd.
Harold Lloyd. I knew it was some other
Yep.
famous.
But it's the same mansion where Axel Foley and Victor Maitland face off in Beverly Hills Cop in 84.
Okay, all right.
So originally in the script, the movie would end with Bennett fleeing from the island on a speedboat with Jenny while Matrix chases after them before Matrix and Bennett would engage each other in hand-to-hand combat on a beach. However, was dropped due to the production running out of money and changed to Matrix and Bennett fighting in the crammed basement. But then we wouldn't have gotten the line, let off some steam, Bennett. So it worked out. All right, let's talk about box office. The film debuted at number 1 on the weekend of October 4th, 1985, United States, and spent 3 consecutive weeks at the top position. I looked at other movies released that week, and there were not many. None were worth mentioning, so didn't have any real stiff competition for that. So, all right, well, now it's time to see where this movie ranks on the rewatchability and nostalgia meter. It's our way of determining how well the movie's held up for multiple viewings and how much nostalgia it brings. It's a scale of 1 to 10. Here's how it works. At the bottom of the scale is a number 1, which means I saw it once and that was enough. Right in the middle is a 5, means it's a good rewatch every couple of years. And the top, if you get to a perfect 10, it's a highly coveted, means it's highly rewatchable and full of nostalgia. So, Nicholas, for you, where does Commando land for you on the rewatchability and nostalgia meter?
See, now I shouldn't give it that high of a score because I don't have a lot of nostalgia for it, but I think I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
I mean, it's a solid movie. I mean, it's fun. It's just, it's not good. Well, it's not great. It is a good movie.
Right.
There's so many plot holes like we talked about and so much, but it's so much fun and so cheesy. And it is Arnold at the beginning, but it's Arnold at, kind of Arnold's best.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like a good, it's not one I'm going to watch every, like once a year or every weekend, but like, every couple years. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to watch this movie.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I was going to give it a 7 as well. And honestly, it's kind of the other way around because the nostalgia is what pushes it up for me because I saw it so much as a kid, but it's not really one that I tend to rewatch very much. Like I said, I'm going to put in Predator, or I'm going to put in Running Man. I'm going to put in True Lies, even though that's not an 80s movie when I'm thinking about Schwarzenegger. So But it's one I would still watch it every couple of years. Like I said, it's not one that I'm going to watch every year. It's not that high for me, but it's a fun watch. It's not long. It's mindless entertainment. You can have it on, look up for the action sequences, go back to whatever game you're playing on your phone or doom scrolling on your phone while dialogue is happening, and still don't feel like you really missed anything. So, but yeah. So let us know where it ranks for you on the Rewatchability Nostalgia Meter, so you can send us a message on social media. Send us an email at 80s Flick Flashback. Info at 80sflickflashback.com, or you can leave us a comment right here in the comment section if you're watching us on YouTube. So, well, Nicholas, I think we've covered all there is to cover on Commando. What's going on over at Pop Culture Roulette this month?
We're in a bit of a hiatus right now. Some personal things have come up and just some other schedules. But we've got a couple of big brackets lined up here. I just don't know what the proper order of them is going to be yet, so I don't want to say anything. But we are going to do. We just finished off a name game series.
Yeah, I saw that. It was good.
Where we did the real actor's name, the real movie name, and then the real band name.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to figure that out. But so that was a fun little series that we just did. But now we're definitely getting back to our bread and butter of brackets here pretty soon. So
very cool. We'll definitely check out Pop Culture Roulette on your favorite podcast catcher. And appreciate you, Nicholas, for joining in. So that's a wrap on today's episode of the 80s Flick Flashback Podcast. If you had as much fun as we did, please show us some love with an awesome review and a shiny 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button and spread the word to all your 80s flick loving pals. If you've got questions or just want to chat about your favorite flicks, you can reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And if you're feeling super cool, why not support the show over at buymeacoffee.com. Plus, you can totally rock some killer 80s Flick Flashback gear and original designs by checking out our online store at 80sflickflashback.com and tpublic.com for all your nostalgic swag. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Tim Williams for the 80s Flick Flashback Podcast. I eat green berets for breakfast, and right now, I'm very hungry.